So let's talk about a lengthy summary of the Baja 400. As with every race now in Baja, it starts with qualifying. And historically with Nahual, the Mason all-wheel drive, we never qualified any worse than 6th place. So the objective, obviously, going into every single qualifying run is a top 5. We'd accomplished that in basically all of our qualifiers. And the objective after that, going into the race, is a top 3. So mentality, obviously, going into the Baja 400, leading the championship, top 5 qualifying, top 3 for the race, which sets us up for a top 3 for the race. Obviously, that's not the way it went, starting with qualifying, where I make 2 critical mistakes that cost us over 12 seconds, and those 12 seconds mean that now we're starting in 11th place. Now, starting in 11th place, you know that to have any shot, any opportunity of finishing in the top 3, you need to be absolutely perfect the day of the race. Perfect. No issues, no problems, just an amazing day from start to finish. And especially the first 200 miles or the first half of the race. So that's the mentality going in to Saturday's race, all throughout Wednesday, after qualifying, all throughout Thursday, all throughout Friday. So we get to the start of the race, and I am convinced that starting 11th, I need to be squeaky clean through the first 150 to 200 miles. Green flag drops, we start, go through Rancho Nelson, and then through the new start way out to the meadow on top of Ojos Negros. And there's a transition right to left, where on the left we had a line, so you have to kind of cork it a little bit tighter. And as I'm corking it tighter, there's a bush with a rock behind it, and unfortunately we didn't catch it pre-running, so I clip it with my driver's side front. That kind of throws the truck a little bit and just slams the drive, not slams, but I clip it harder with my driver's side rear tire, and immediately driver's side rear is flat. So at this point, you're like, okay, 50 yards later, we stop. Javi gets out, is changing the driver's side rear flat, and Lofton comes by us. We're in 12th place now. As Javi gets back in the cab, connects himself back up to audio, says, hey, driver's side front is damaged. There's a big ball on it from when we hit that rock. So when we get to the meadow on top of Ojos, there's a chase truck there. We'll stop, we'll change it really fast, and we'll get going again. My fault. Obviously, we're stopping there. It's smarter to stop there. So we get going again. We get to the top of the meadow. We're looking for our chase guys. I slow down a little bit. We're looking for our chase guys. We get to the end of the meadow and we never see them. So we're like, well, hopefully now it lives to race mile 76, which is where our next support is. And at this point, we had no other choice. We get going again. We go through the meadow. We come down into Ojos, and you know, as we're starting to cross to Acámbaro or Uruapan, I see Groff on the side of the road, stopped, most likely changing a tire. It's not something that you see really, but he was stopped off to the side. So we get by him. I'm like, okay, well, great. We're 11th. We're back to where we started. And then as we come around the corner and we start climbing this uphill, I see Walser changing a tire as well, or stopped. And obviously I get excited. I'm like, hey, it's 2 for 1 within 10 miles or 10 minutes. we start attacking to make sure he doesn't just drop right in front of us. And all of a sudden, as we're going up this hill, we just heard a loud explosion on the car. And I tell him, what the hell is that? He says, it's the driver's side front. It just popped. So I was like, God damn it. We stopped literally 10 feet in front of Walser, changed this tire, this, driver's side front. Walser gets out. He gets by us. Groff gets by us again. So I'm like, okay, so we're back to 12th. 2 mistakes. Okay. We continue to go through this, probably the nastiest part of the race, going across into Acámbaro, and pop out onto the highway in Acámbaro, stop, not on the highway, at our chase crew. They re-rack 2 tires, and we get going again. So, this point, highway down to Santo Tomás. We start climbing out of Santo Tomás, towards the beach. As we're getting closer to the beach, we start catching a little bit of dust. And obviously we think it's Groff, right? We start catching a little bit of dust. We get in those long straightaways coming down into the beach. Then we get next to the water, which is beautiful ocean next to the race course. Start racing through that into Erendira Speed Zone. As we get to Erendira Speed Zone, I see that it is Groff and that we're catching him. So I'm like, I make a plan in my head. We come out of the speed zone, we hit the wash, very lengthy wash, not a lot of dust. I can kind of run up on him there. Then there's a 90-degree right. We start climbing the mountains. And as we start climbing those mountains, I think I have an opportunity in that section to possibly get him. So we have a plan in our head. We're attacking the wash after the speed zone. We get to that 90-degree right. We start going up the mountains, and it's an off-camber uphill, and the truck just kind of gets away from me a little bit and slides to the left and down, and I just clip another rock with my driver's side rear tire, and instantly I get a flat. So at this point, we stop to change the flat, and as Javi's changing the flat, 2 things happen. One, 63 gets by us, so now we're 13th on the road. And secondly, in my head, I'm trying to decide what kind of race this is going to be. It's been 125, 130 miles. I've stopped 4 times. I've gotten 3 well-deserved flats. And is it going to be one of those races where we just give up and we meander through the rest of the 170 or 270 miles that are left to the finish line? Maybe we sneak in the top 10. Maybe we're outside the top 10. Maybe we continue to make mistakes. Who knows, right? Is it going to be one of those days? Or is it going to be what we've been talking about? And just having that never give up attitude, fighting back, trying to regain positions. At this point, you know that winning is just a dream. It's not going to happen. And a top 3 is more likely than not going to happen. So you understand that everything that you've done leading up to this point is basically done. It's not a top 3, but you can continue to push, and that's what we decided to do. We decided that we were not going to give up. We were going to put our heads down, and we were going to grind. We were 13th on the road at this point, probably way further than back on corrected time. I don't know. I don't care. It wasn't a good day for the first 130 miles. So we put our head down. We start grinding. We start going, and maybe 10 miles later, Rob is on the side of the road. Past Rob. Now we're 12th place. We continue to go. I catch 63. I'm about to put a pass on him, and he graciously moves out of the way and lets me by. Okay, I'm 11th place. 150 miles, 160 miles into the race, I'm 11th place, which is where I started. Not great, but we're pushing. As we pass 63, we hear from one of our pits that at 180, Lucas stopped, most likely with an engine issue and out of the race. So in my head, that spot's mine. We're in 10th. We continue to go down the beach, trying to push hard. As we're coming up the wash to Colonet, we start getting some dust again, and I see that it's Groff. So we're catching Groff. I'm like, okay, there's a speed zone as soon as we come out of the wash here. After the speed zone, there's a couple of 90 lefts and rights. If I kind of get out of the dust, I think I can run up hard on him. Like, I think this is a good opportunity for us to make up some time. So we push really hard in the wash. We get on the speed zone, and as soon as we hit the speed zone, I see him right in front of me, maybe like 15 seconds in front of me. So I'm like, okay. So this plan starts to develop in my head in terms of where we're going to pass him. Thankfully, as we're going down the speed zone, he has a pit towards the end of it, and he stops. So we're able to get by him. So I'm like, okay, perfect. We're in 9th place now. We're in the top 10. Let's continue to push. We go around the bottom loop, in terms of the southernmost section of the race course. We start coming back up, again, towards like Llano Colorado area, through the washes, and we start getting dust again. I don't know who it is, but we start seeing dust again. At this point, I'm like, okay, we need to push. We'll hop on the highway. We'll probably see who it is, and then our pit is coming up. So as soon as we hop on the highway, I see that it's number 16, Cameron. I don't know if it's Josh or Cameron at this point, but I know it's the 16. So we start, we get up on the highway. We're about, 10 car lengths behind him. We're able to make up a little bit of time on the highway, and he tries to let me by. And I'm like, there is no fucking way on God's green earth that I am passing someone on the highway. Even if he is letting me by, pulling over, there's no way. Plus, I had my pit a little bit ahead, so there was no way I was passing on the highway. So we just are literally almost bumper to bumper going down the highway, and I pull into my pit 1. The boys and girls a phenomenal job for pit 1. An amazing, super fast pit. I get out again, and at this point they let us know that we're not 9th, we're 8th. We don't know where we passed Walser, but we're by Walser. So this is amazing. We're 8th car on the road. We're chasing down Cameron. And as we start going through La Calentura, through the fast, fun section in La Calentura, we're making time up on Cameron. We're making time up. And as we're about 10 to 15 seconds behind him, he pulls off the road and lets us by. We might have been having an issue or something. So now we're 7th. At this point, we're 7th place. And we know that the next 2 trucks in front of us are Justin and my dad. In that order. So Justin and then my dad. When we get to the turnoff to I call it the nasty section of La Calentura, they let us know that they're about 4 minutes ahead of us. That both of them, and they're both running within 15 seconds of each other. So we go through the nasty section of La Calentura, pop back out onto the meadow now, the meadow that is west of Valle de la Trinidad. Go through all that stuff, and we're getting feedback from our chase crew where the 4 minutes is now 3:30, 3:15, 2:55, 2:40, just chipping away seconds as every single mile passes. We get to the 90-degree right where we turn off and start heading up Mike's. So we start heading up Mike's, and again, we just continue to chip that time off. We go around like race mile 270, just this super tight, disgusting section. We're able to make up more time, and at this point, I get notice from the 1L that the 41 or Justin just got by them. So Justin got by them, and we were maybe 15 to 20 seconds from catching both of them. So we come around that back loop of Mike, start coming down into Valley T again, and I'm 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds behind my dad. He pulls over, lets me by. I'm now 7th truck on the road. And in the long straightaways, as we're getting down into Valley T, we just push super hard. We run up on Justin, and we pop on the highway into Valley T, 15 seconds behind him, and I see him. So now, okay, as with Groff, I start making a plan in my head. Where can I get Justin, right? We have, after the highway section, we go up the goat trail. I can push hard in the goat trail. I can get right on him. There's not a lot of dust. So my plan is push hard in the goat trail and try and get him there. As we're going up Valley T, the highway, almost towards the end where the turnoff is for them to go to go back into Valley T, Justin, 5 seconds in front of us, maybe 10 seconds in front of us, pulls off into his pit. I'm like, oh, perfect. This is amazing. I don't have to push hard in a section where I really wasn't looking forward to pushing hard, which is going up the goat trail. Get by Justin. So now we're 5th place. We're the 5th car on the road. Things are going great, but we get information that Pulvordi is over 15 minutes ahead of us, non-corrected. So that means 6 minutes ahead of us corrected. Both of us running hard. There is no way in hell that in 100 miles you make up 6 minutes. I mean, unless someone's having an issue, unless something's happening, but there was no way. So we continue to push. I'm like, Javi, we're just gonna continue to push really hard. We go up the goat trail. We go through Héroes de la Independencia, Leyes de Reforma, just kind of go. And then we start chipping away, slowly but surely start chipping away at that lead. And I was very honest and said I hit 2 rocks and got 3 flats. I don't know how I got this one, but passenger side front, all of a sudden Javi's like, we're getting a flat. I'm like, God, geez. And we stop, we change it, and obviously it takes a minute and 10 seconds to change a flat. Everything that we made up, basically, just I lose it again with a flat. So nonetheless, we continue to push, we continue to put our heads down, we continue to make up some time, and at this point, it's we're just racing. We know that unless there's a catastrophic event to a trophy truck where they're on the side of the road with some sort of issue, we're in 5th place, and that's what's gonna be our result for the Baja 500, unless I make a mistake, right? So we're racing hard. We come back through 77, and we're making up time again on the 4 leaders in front of us. We go through 77, come back out, come through Ojos, speed zone through Ojos, up into the mountains, and then backwards, obviously the way we came out, back in, and through Rancho Nelson to the finish line. When we get to the finish line, it's all said and done. We are 3 minutes and 12 seconds, if I don't misremember, behind Chris in the 94, and 12 minutes out of our 4th consecutive podium, which hurts, right? Because it was such a bad qualifier. It was such a bad day the first 130 miles, and we just continue to push, and to be 5th place within 12 minutes of your objective, which is a lot of time, but still, I mean, with everything that happened, it was achievable. It hurts, but I'm very proud of everyone. I'm very proud of the team. We never gave up. We continue to push. We put our heads down. We didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish, but we finished the Baja 400 in a very respectable place. So right now, 100% of our focus is on the Baja 1000. we are third place in the championship, and whoever wins the Baja 1000 between the first 3 guys in the championship wins the championship. So we are doing absolutely everything we can to make sure that that's us. See you at the Baja 1000.